I'm very sick this week, so hopefully I can get through this without dying.
That's a different sort of cold intro.
Because it's a cold. I checked for COVID. It's not COVID. It's like some kind of flu thing. I was in Vegas this weekend for a dodgeball tournament, and I must have caught something because there were so many people there. But we did get third place, so that was fun.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I was gonna say you guys did when you answered, so.
huh?
I said I was going to ask how you guys did, but you answered, so we got it.
Oh, perfect. Well, let's all right, let's jump right into the news because we have a ton of news this week. And cool. All right, what do we want to start with?
We're going to start with the fact that you're Water Pokemon Master, and I'm Justin Basil, JustinBasil.com.
Oh.
You're listening to the Poke Beach podcast. We are jumping right into the news. There's so much to talk about this week. We don't even have time for intros. Let's roll with it. Let's go.
I forgot. What do we want? What's the news story we want to do?
Let's start with the Van Gogh stuff to get that out of the way.
Oh my God, I hate you so much.
I had to get it out of the way.
No.
I'm so tired of this story.
And this is like a story where I have to like explain everything. I'm so dead. I was hoping to get a warm up with you explaining things. You would explain the cards from the new sets, and I could just sit there and go, All right.
If we get this one out of the way, then we can go on and on about the new sets.
Then I can get a break, even though we haven't even started yet, and I already want a break. All right. All right. So, the Vango Pikachu promos are already being pre-scalped in the Netherlands, and people are already fearing that we're getting another botched release on our hands. Big surprise. So, the upcoming batch of Vango Pikachu promos are already being pre-sold by stores in the Netherlands under the table. As we reported before, TPCI had intended for the promos to be given out by stores to customers if they spent 30 euros on Pokemon TCG products, and each store was supposed to receive 100 copies. However, I was already getting a lot of messages from people over in the Netherlands saying that there's a lot of bad stuff going on. So I talked to Yves I don't know how to pronounce his name. Yves Bruinen, owner of Flash Cards, who told Poke Beach or Poke Beach, I'm seeing many stores selling these cards in large volumes. Scalping is at high levels. This promotion is going to be a big problem. And then I also went through some Dutch WhatsApp groups and found dozens of conversations referencing sales of the card between stores and customers before the card has even been released yet. One collector who's very reputable in the group said, "Oh yeah, I already bought 50 from a shop." Another said, "I ordered mine from a chain for 30,000 euros, or sorry, for 3,000 euros. 100 copies will be coming to me." So that collector literally cleared out one whole store who would have been giving them to different customers had they been following the rules. And then a store owner announced a lot of them are going to go to regular customers of the shop, and a lot of them were going to grade. So this isn't just people chattering. We are also seeing on Card Market, the European version of TCG Player, that some stores are pre-selling the card to ship in 4 to 6 weeks, which is when the promotion is expected to start. They're charging over 100 euros per copy, and some have even placed their listings on a Dutch auction website that I can't pronounce the name to for similar prices. So, why is this happening? Well, why isn't this being enforced? Why are these stores getting away with it? Well, the store owner I spoke to previously said that he had spoke to Asmodee this week, who is the distributor for the Pokemon TCG in the Netherlands, and they said that it's not their problem to enforce this. They can't check if their clients are playing fair, which, to be honest, I guess is expected. And then I also spoke to a really popular Dutch collector who said the cards, and he wanted to remain anonymous. Oh no, he didn't. Sorry. The one of the people from before wanted to remain anonymous, but this one said the cards are worth at least $100 each. Imagine offering stores $10,000 to give away. This was Porsche Design, the Dutch collector I spoke to. He said a lot of stores see this as free money from TPCI. I don't blame them. And then he also said that a lot of stores have announced that they are doing this promotion on their socials. It's public information now, but many more are keeping suspiciously quiet. And he said you can imagine why, because they don't want to. They're probably going to say like, oh, we never got the cards, or oh, they're going to come up with some excuse and then sell them under the table. So right now we don't know how many stores are going to receive the promos, but we're currently estimating it's going to be between 100 and 200 local gaming stores based on how many stores have been contacted by the distributor. And then if larger chains also offer the promotion in the Netherlands, this could push it to over 500 stores. So this would mean we're going to get maybe between 10,000 and 50,000 copies of the card injected into the supply. But this is all guesswork right now. And if the larger chains do offer this promotion, it would alleviate some of the scalping coming from smaller stores. And we also have a graph here from Card Market, which I mentioned before was the European version of TCG Player. They have a noticeable dip in the price of the card since this news was announced. So hopefully if we're going to get at least 10,000 more copies of the card in the wild, it'll bring the price down. So we'll see. But if you read the comments on PokeBeach in response to this news story, you would see a lot of people are very angry with the fact that stores are pre-selling this card. What do you think about all that, Justin Beisel?
Here's what I think about that. Support.pokemon.com, file a ticket. If you know that your local store is selling them, support.pokemon.com. Let Pokemon know, and Pokemon can do whatever they're going to do about it.
And another thing too is that I think we kind of found out during the pandemic that when a local gaming store betrays your trust, they lose your business. And so don't support stores that do this sort of thing. And it's unfortunate in a way because I think it does long-term damage to a store's reputation when they do this. But I do want to play devil's advocate a bit and kind of do a 180 here, because I honestly do not necessarily blame the stores here. People are going to people, businesses are going to business. And when you set up a system like this, a promotion like this without oversight, where the distributor is like, well, it's not our problem. This is what's going to happen. I don't know really what the solution would be for Pokemon to ensure that stores are giving these promos out fairly. I imagine that if they do partner with the larger chains in the country, that this would, as I said in the story, alleviate some of the scalping going on. But I don't really blame the stores too much, because they're where people go to congregate to play the game. LGSs famously do not make a lot of money. So I'm a little torn on this, and I don't necessarily blame the stores, although morally, if my store did this, I would not support them any longer. So I can see both sides in this. What do you think?
I'm extremely against this. That's why support.pokemon.com. I don't see this as being any different than a store selling the play promos they're supposed to give out to players for prize packs. It's the same thing. They're betraying the trust of TPCI, and if they can't honor their agreement with TPCI, then they don't need to be hosting events.
Yeah. Well, I agree with that, but what I'm also saying is just that, like, what do you expect, honestly? Like, if you set up your system this way, I think you have to blame the way that the system is set up in this case, like to just hand out these promos like that and not have any kind of accountability, and where the distributor is like, what are we supposed to do?
I mean, but is it any different than a prize pack? Like, there's no oversight there either. They can still sell the cards or the packs themselves. I don't see how it's any different.
Well, the prize packs, I guess, there more of them are given out, so I don't know what I'm saying. But yeah, no, I mean, I agree morally, like I said, but anyway. So we'll see what happens here. I hope that Pokemon does end up partnering with the larger chains, because can you imagine if you're a local gaming store that did this and you sold it for, like, I don't know, 100 euros to your customers, and then the customers find out, oh my God, all the large chain stores in the country are giving these out like crazy. Like, that would especially, like, betray your customers' trust if you're an LGS that did this. So I really hope that's what TPCI ends up doing, partnering with those larger chains, and that because if they do that, then stores who've already done this are going to be punished socially for what they did. And then I don't
TPCI.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
TPCI tries to do stuff like this to help local game stores. Like that's the whole point of these promos. That's the whole point of the prize packs, is to encourage people to actually go to these smaller stores to help them actually make their numbers. Yeah. This is supposed to be a promo for people to buy items. Like it's just scummy on another level.
You think that if you were a local game store and you wanted to give these out, that you would do it to like your regulars at least, because that would build
right.
That would build the trust there. But I guess not. I guess they see the money as more important. But I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I'm a little torn on this. But anyway, is that all we have to say about this? We're going to find out in a few. So the promotion will be coming out in 4 to 6 weeks. So we'll see what how TPCI is going to manage this over there, and if they're going to partner with the larger chains. And then hopefully by then we'll know how many copies of this card will be given out for this promotion based on the number of stores. And then maybe we'll see a dip we'll definitely see a dip in the European market if it's as many as we're thinking. Excuse me. In terms of if that'll come to the American market, we'll see. So far, there hasn't really been a dip on TCG players. So, all right, should we move on to our next story? Oh, wait, real quick. So I was looking at the comments for this. I was looking at the comments just randomly last night, and I jumped to the third page without having read anything yet. And the first thing I see is, debatably, society has already collapsed to some extent. I'm like, how is this? I mean, I agree with them, but it's just so funny that this is coming up in relation to this new story.
Look, they know your MO already.
No, it's just funny. It's like how you just jump to the comments and you see this sort of comment. Debatably, society has already collapsed to some extent in relation to a Pikachu card. It's funny. Anyway, all right. So let's just get to the cards last. How about that?
Yeah, cards last. Let's do the expanded ban list update, or Iono Premium, whatever. We'll do that. Okay, so TPCI has announced that Scoop Up Net will also be banned from expanded. This ban came to Japan in October, and it took them a while to bring it here, but I guess that was because they were waiting for Paldean Fates to release. So their reasoning actually, do you want to read the reasoning for it that they wrote? So their reasoning, they said the Scoop Up Net cannot be used, so Scoop Up Net was banned from the expanded format. Scoop Up Net cannot be used on Pokemon V or GX, but can be used on other Pokemon with a rule box, because this card existed before that wording existed. That didn't come out till Battle Styles. There are many dangerous combos with this card, and a new one was introduced with the Scarlet and Violet Paradox Rift expansion. The combination of Iron Valiant and Scoop Up Net allows the use of Tachyon Bit's ability repeatedly, making it very possible to win the game on the first turn when going first. While this strategy isn't guaranteed to be successful, it happens frequently enough to create an undesirable environment for the expanded format. Scoop Up Net may lead to even more powerful combos in the future. So the card itself was chosen to be banned. So my opinion on Scoop Up Net, and the ban on this is that it's about 4 years overdue. It should have been banned when it came out in Rebel Clash. So they knew it was a problem, and they didn't do anything about it because it was a newer card.
So basically, the dangerous combination they're referring to is the fact that you use Scoop Up Net to put Iron Valiant back into your hand and then play it again, and then put it back in your hand, play it again, and then
because you have the Iron Valiant in the active spot, you use Tachyon Bits, you scoop it up, put a new one in the active spot from the bench, and then use that one's Tachyon Bits, scoop another one up, and you basically just loop a bunch of them. You do quite a bit of damage that way without even having to attack. So you can knock out quite a bit turn one, even going first, because you don't have to attack. And
then we have to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
But as I'm saying, that like it already didn't work on capital E, capital X Pokemon EX. So there were already some weird interactions that shouldn't have been possible or shouldn't have been allowed to go on. Personally, I think this card should have been banned as it was released. I know I've already said that, but like This ban is extremely overdue.
And we also have to mention that TPCI still doesn't allow premier events to be sanctioned under expanded. So, and the official simulator only supports it doesn't really support expanded that well. So, although the format still exists, it still doesn't really feel like TPCI is supporting it as much as they should.
So I know they are working on it, like as much crap as Pokemon Trading Card Game Live deserves, and it does deserve quite a bit. They are working on it. It's just taking them forever. I know they're working on some of the background and performance issues that have plagued it since it's hit beta in Canada. But they are working on it. They have a couple of times now expanded the card pool for the expanded format.
Okay.
They've when it was first debuted, it was Lost Thunder forward. Now it's Sun and Moon forward. So they've added to it, and you can see some of the cards from Black and White forward in there. Some of them aren't coded very well, but they're also not like legal for play in the app yet, so it's fine.
It's not like it's gonna take them a
like I said,
while.
they are working on it.
If they're only on Sun and Moon, I mean that's 2 generations they still have to do.
Well, that was Sun and Moon. The Sun and Moon update was like last year, toward like when it went live officially. That was like I think March or April. So it's been quite a while since that release. But like I said, they've been working on trying to squash the bugs and trying to improve performance for a while now, because the app has performed very, very poorly. And I know a lot of mobile devices, including my iPhone, actually, they turn into like thermonuclear grenades when you use the app. It's like I have 100% battery. I play a single 15-minute game. I'm at 40%. That should not be a thing.
Horrible. That's horrible. Maybe I need to download that and try it out actually on the computer. I think it'd be fun to see if my computer blows up.
No, computers don't really have an issue with it. Although, I mean, some older laptops probably will. But like a desktop, especially the one you have, that I know you have because I helped you source the parts for it.
Yeah.
It will not have an issue, period, because it's got plenty of oomph.
Nice. Okay, so next, let's do this news story quickly. We have the new Pokemon Center merchandise for the month for January. It features Paradox Pokemon, so Bianca, cool, and cards from Wild Force and Cyber Judge. Let's see Bianca here with her black and white Pokemon. And
so those are all Pokemon that are in the sets too. Did you notice that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're from
all of
Wild
them.
Force and Cyber Judge.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I liked the idea of these Scarlet Book and Violet Scarlet Book and Violet Book card boxes. But if you watch the video, they're like cheap paper when they put them together in the
That's not surprising
video here. And then
I love that Gengar box too. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
It looks really cool. Well, that's not the box, but that's still the same art. It's just really cool.
Oh, the deck box, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's also going to be a Deck Shield Collection Ancient and Future releasing, as you can see right here. It's going to come with 1 of 10 sets of card sleeves featuring Paradox Pokemon. So basically a booster pack of card sleeves. So you can see all 10 of the designs right here. It's a lot of cool ones here.
They don't want us just to buy the ones we want, huh?
No, they want you to... That's how they make more money. All right, so that's it for this.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's fun stuff to see. This is obviously Japanese merchandise, so you have to import it or find somebody that's selling it locally to get it. But yeah, it's nice. It's and the sleeves from Japan are definitely nicer than the ones locally here. The Ultra Pro sleeves with the licensed stuff is awful.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then I guess we should talk about Iono. So we reported last month that there was going to be a premium tournament collection coming out April 5th, and we now know that to be featuring Iono. It'll retail for $39.99 and release, as I said, April 5th. It's got cool packaging. I have to definitely give them that. This Iono is a full art promo card. We have not seen this in Japan yet. And it'll also come with 3 foil prints of the regular Iono with a play button stamp, as you can see right here in the corner of the artwork. And then this little...
that's like her little channel logo thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and this is going to come with one less booster pack than previous iterations of the Premium Tournament collections. This is so it'll come with I think it's six booster packs instead of 7. This is because of the booster pack price increase that was announced at the beginning of the Scarlet and Violet era. So to keep the price the same, they just took out a pack. And then this will be the 4th full art special illustration rare print of Iono. So you can play with 4 very unique copies of the artwork in your deck. 5 if you include the regular print. And then the sleeves and deck box in this collection released last year at Japan's Pokemon Centers. So that's where they sourced it from, which also leaves the possibility that maybe one day we'll get Bianca, because we just saw her card sleeves and playmat and deck box artwork. But I don't know if she's important enough to get... I don't know. Is she important enough to get her own collection? It seems like they always do...
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, she's not that... Her card's not that great.
I mean, it's usable theoretically, but it's pretty niche.
And Iono is like really popular because she's a popular character in the games, although I don't understand that. And then I can't stand the people that are like influencers or whatever.
It's funny because the games make fun of her too.
Yeah.
They like point out how vain she is.
Yeah. That I do appreciate, that she's maybe a commentary on that. But her card is also powerful. So when you combine a popular character with a powerful effect, this is going to fly off the shelves. And you can pre-order this from PokemonCenter.com right now. And surprisingly, the pre-orders are still up. So that's
They must have burned it to the ground because they knew it would be flying. These, to be fair, these premium tournament collections generally do fly. I know Marnie's was very, very popular too. And it's the same combination, right? A young female character that's very popular with the Pokemon audience and has a very strong effect that sees lots of play. That's a recipe for these flying.
Yeah. Easy money.
Yep.
All right. So, did we get everything so far this week? Yeah, we did. Okay. So then let's jump into the smaller reveals from last night. And then I guess maybe the last thing we can do is Wild Force Cyber Judge.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Let's do this. Let's do the smaller news stories first.
Sure.
From last night, and then the last thing we'll do is Wild Force and Cyber Judge. All right, so we're getting the next set of gym promos. They've been revealed. They will release in Japan on January 26th. In Japan, you go to gym tournaments and you get a 1-card booster pack that comes with one of 7 promo cards, as you can see right here. The chase card is obviously the new Flamigo EX. Which we should be getting in a future EX box or thrown into a set, but it probably won't release for at least 6 months. Out of these promos, only 4 are brand new, and the rest are actually exact reprints, which we haven't actually seen in a while. Usually they're alternate art reprints, but for some reason this time they kept the same artwork. I'm not sure why. But do you want to go over?
Yeah. I want to bring this up because somebody in the comments brought it up. It's actually very interesting that there aren't any alternate art reprints, because that may explain why some of the cards that we may have expected to be in Paldean Fates didn't make the set, because they kind of need to hold some of them back to use for the blister pack promos, the sleeve pack promos, just to keep them available. Because maybe in a couple sets they'll release some new ones, but obviously in this round they didn't. So.
It's interesting that they released a Quagsire when we never got Quagsire V. So
we didn't get. I don't think we got much of any of that gym promo set, did we? Because we never got the stadium card either.
What was it? Which stadium was that?
I don't remember its name off the top of my head. It was really bad. It wasn't very playable, but we never did get it.
Maybe they're gonna release a Quagsire box, like they'll do Paldean, Quagsire, regular Quagsire, and Quagsire V or something. Maybe that's why.
Paldean Clodsire.
Yeah, sorry. I'm because I'm wondering, it's like 2 Quagsire in a row that they've released in these, or not in a row, but the 2 Quagsire they've released in these gym sets. That'd be a good excuse to print.
Look, Wooper and Quagsire are good boys, so it's very appropriate that they show up in these.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I mean, none of these are particularly good, right? But do you want to talk about Flamigo?
Let's talk about Flamigo. It is what would be an ultra rare for us. So we have Exact Beak for 2 colorless energy, does 30 plus damage. If this Pokemon and your opponent's active Pokemon have the same number of energy attached, this attack does 100 more damage. So you could theoretically do either 110 or 130, depending on whether or not you have double turbo energy attached. And then for 3 colorless energy, Brave Bird does 200 damage, and it does 30 to itself.
What a fantastic!
So probably 180 because you're gonna have double turbo.
What a fantastic,
powerful
bad card. So powerful.
This is the bulkiest of bulk for Pokemon EX. It's not good. It's just not.
And then we have a new supporter, Time. Put a Pokemon from your hand face down in front of you and tell your opponent its name. They guess the HP of that Pokemon, and then you reveal it. If your opponent guessed right, they draw 4 cards. If they guessed wrong, you draw 4 cards. Return the Pokemon to your hand.
It's like Blaine's quiz all over again. Mm-hmm. It's not good, but theoretically it could see play in like some sort of stall or even mill archetype in combination with something like the hand trimmer card that we've seen in the main set here. It's real niche and probably too niche to see much play.
Can we just admire the Wooper and Quagsire artwork here?
I do love that they connect, because they do connect, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, they're just in the same. They're just in the same fountain.
They
don't connect, but they are in the same fountain. Yeah, that's cool.
He evolved, maybe, or
it's the same artist too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
But yeah, it'd be cool if we got like some kind of Quagsire box. We could get this Wooper, this Quagsire, a Quagsire V, maybe a Paldean, Clodsire. It'd be a perfect excuse.
Yeah, I would like it.
All right, and then we have 20 new cards revealed from the upcoming Koraidon EX and Miraidon EX decks, which are going to release alongside Wild Force and Cyber Judge on January 26th. You can see right here.
So these are more starter sets than decks. They have a deck in them, but it's like a combination of a starter deck and a trainer's toolkit for Japan.
Yep. Anything you want to talk about?
Not especially.
They're not that great.
These sets are. We've seen a lot of these cards in the last few weeks, but most of the cards that we did see, we hadn't seen rather. They're not great.
Yeah.
It's nice to see Beheeyem again. I'll give them that. We haven't seen Beheeyem in a while, but it's not very good. So.
Have you heard its voice? Have you heard its voice in the anime?
No, actually, I don't think I have.
It's like Marvin the Martian. I can't do it.
That seems appropriate.
These decks are coming with
it's good. There's a lot of good art. How's that?
Yeah.
Like the Ponyta, I think it is. And the Miraidon is also really cool. Like there's some good stuff art wise here, and I think collectors will be super happy with the cards that came out of this. But in terms of playability, it's not that great. And
these are probably going to be thrown into our Temporal Forces set in March, along with the cards from Wild Force and Cybercharge. So I think that's when we'll see them. Obviously, we're going to get the Master Ball from these decks in our Temporal Forces set. So this
Master Ball won't see much play.
Master Ball is not in Wild Force and Cybercharge. It's only from these 2 decks. So
Cyber Judge.
Sorry, why do I keep saying Cybercharge? What is Charge? What was
Not
Charge?
Sure.
What set had Charge in the name? There was some set that had... I don't know. I keep saying Charge.
It's been a minute.
Oh my God, there's been I've covered 21 years of English and Japanese sets. I know there was a Charge somewhere in one of those.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I'm getting crisscrossed in my head. All right, and then we got more.
Look at some secret rares.
Yes, yeah, okay. I didn't really get a chance to
art is so good.
I didn't get a chance to really look at these closely, but because it was so late. But we got more secret rares from Wild Force and Cyber Judge, not Charge. We have the Deerling and Sawsbuck right here, featuring. Oh yeah, so this is like different seasons in the background. So you have
winter, for those who aren't familiar, this is the first appearance. First appearance of the autumn form for both Deerling and Sawsbuck in the TCG. They still hadn't had cards until now.
Yeah, and they're connected, and they're pretty full. They remind me of those Instagram, Facebook videos I see where they like, an artist is like splitting different seasons or times a day in using tape or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about? Those videos.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got a snow.
Dude, I love grass type Pokemon, so I'm gonna have to get both of these. They're just too good looking. These cards are beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And then we got a Snome, which I love realistic artwork. This like almost reminds me of something Mitsuhiro Arita would do, or in terms of the realism. But I really love this one. It's got like depth of field.
It does have
background.
like a glassy, like its backside is very glassy.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's so cool.
Looks like ice. And we got Mincino and Cincino.
Cinchino. I love both these two.
Oh, sorry, Mincino.
Cinchino is one of like the few Pokemon that redeems Gen 5 for me. Like Cryogonal, Cinchino. There are a few that I really love from Gen 5, and Cinchino is one of them.
I think they were designed by what's her name that designed Pikachu and Clefairy? Nishida? Atsuko Nishida? Is that her name?
I don't know off the top of my head, so I'll let you fly with that.
Atsuko Nishida. Okay, yeah, I got that right.
Oh, Nishida's done a lot of TCG art actually.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And then we got a Drampa. Why do a lot of people? I'm not a fan of this kind of art, but a lot of people like it.
Yeah, it's to me, but it's whatever.
To me, it looks
Drampa's
like...
Pokedex entries. We need to look. I know this is veering off topic, but can we look at Drampa's Pokedex entries real quick?
Isn't it like
hit up Wikipedia?
They
are so awesome.
It's like it'll kill anyone who messes with its child friend or something.
Yeah,
it'll like track them down and murder them.
They're super dark. They're crazy. Let me pull up the entries. Okay, so the sun. Okay, here's So the Ultra Sun entry says if a child has made friends with is bullied, Drampa will find the bully's house and burn it to the ground.
Mm-hmm. Because it's a grandpa, a violent grandpa.
Like, that's so dark.
These are the children.
Or shield entry. Drampa is a kind and friendly Pokemon up until it's angered. When that happens, it stirs up a gale and flattens everything around. It's such a crazy Pokemon in terms of its dex entries.
Mm-hmm. Here it is with the children on its back that it's befriended. So don't screw with those children. If you're a bully, you better watch out. Drampa will come burn your house down. And then your parents are going to be bankrupt.
No kidding. Hopefully they had insurance.
Oh, yeah, that's true. And then we got a new Bianca and Morty. I forgot what their card's name. What was it? Bianca's.
It's like Morty's Conviction, Bianca's Sincerity. Bianca card is absolutely stunning. It's going to be a money card just because of how pretty the card is.
Prettyful. Is that slobber in her mouth? She's drooling while she's sleeping.
Is she drooling?
I think so. Isn't that?
Well, I don't see anything.
I think it's just like an anime sleep kind of. Yeah, she's drooling.
Oh, yeah, there is a little bit there.
And then Morty is, of course, with Gengar.
This card I think is kind of good. We'll talk about it when we get to the set. But I think this might see a little bit of niche play, kind of like Zinnia's Resolve did.
What is he eating? He's got coffee. And what is that thing on? What is that?
I haven't the slightest.
And he's got groceries right here. And then there's a Pidgey. Gengar is talking to a Pidgey. The Pidgey isn't afraid of Gengar because it's part normal type. So
it's like you can't do anything to me.
Yeah, that's right. I always appreciated Morty's redesign in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I like how they made him more purpley.
Yeah, he looks much better.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's it for the secret, and we're gonna get the rest of the secret rares next week by Tuesday, I think. So we'll look forward to that. All right,
yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday for sure. They're gonna be some good ones. I'm sure of it.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then our last big news story of the week, or I can just sit back and listen to Justin Basil talk. We've got all of the Wild Force and Cyber Judge main set cards fully revealed, 142. It
took me 2.5 hours to translate these last night.
Yeah, I know. It was a lot of work. You're a superstar. These sets introduced, I'm just going to really quickly say, these sets introduce Pokemon that were just introduced in the Indigo Disc in December. One of the fastest turnarounds we've seen for the card game to render cards of brand new Pokemon. We're going to get all these cards in Temporal Forces in March. Set reintroduces A-Spec cards. And we'll get the secret rares next week. All of them. So what do you say your top 10? How do you want to do this?
Let's start with the only EX that hadn't been revealed prior to the release. So let's look at the Torterra line, starting with Turtwig.
Oh, okay.
So Turtwig is a grass Pokemon that has 80 HP. Sad face. It has an ability called Solid Shell. This Pokemon takes 20 less damage from attacks after applying weakness and resistance. And it has Intact Leafage for grass double colorless that does 30 damage. So this Turtwig is definitely the one you're going to run if you're playing a Torterra deck. That extra damage reduction is very good. Having 80 HP is normally not a bad thing, except Buddy Poffin exists and doesn't work for Pokemon that have more than 70 HP. So unfortunately, you're not going to be finding Turtwig with Buddy Poffin. So you're going to be loading up on Nest Balls and Ultra Balls and Great Balls and whatever other balls please you to get Turtwig out and ready for attacking. But Turtwig is still pretty good. And Grottle, this is never the one you play, so we're going to ignore it. And we're going to go to Torterra.
Oh, this one
there's a Grottle from Brilliant Stars that searches out grass Pokemon. You play that one. Okay. But Torterra has the attack Forest March that does 30 times damage. This attack does 30 damage for each grass Pokemon you have in play. So 30 times 6, you do the math. It's not too bad for a single grass energy on a stage 2 that has a lot of HP. And you can use a card like Professor Turo's Scenario to scoop up Torterra after it's been thoroughly damaged and play it back down on a Grottle that you have on the bench because you've been using them to chain out your grass type Pokemon. So I don't think it's actually that bad. 180 is not the best damage, but you are also sponging quite a lot. And you are also going to be one-shotting Charizard because Charizard EX, the popular one from Obsidian Flames, is weak to grass types. So you'll be one-shotting it, which is pretty nice. Jungle Hammer also does 150, but you're probably not going to ever play Jungle Hammer, so I think it's pretty decent. Will it see play? We'll find out.
All right.
Let's see. Up next, we didn't talk about a lot of these last week either because we recorded the day before most of these got revealed. Where do we begin? Let's talk about Feraligator. Feraligator has the ability Torrential Heart. Once during a turn, you may put 5 damage counters on this Pokemon. If you do, this Pokemon's attacks do 120 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon this turn, and then has Great Wave for 2 water. It does 160 damage. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't use Great Wave. It's a single prizer, which isn't too bad. Torrential Heart is pretty okay. Getting your damage up to 280 for 2 water energy isn't too bad. Water energy acceleration is pretty much non-existent right now, though, so I mean, at least except for Baxcalibur. I should clarify. Obviously, Baxcalibur exists, but you're not going to want to be running 2 separate stage 2 lines to accelerate to Feraligator. So something like Aqua Patch would make this card much more playable. As it stands now, though, it's not awful. You could probably run, if you really, really feel like high rolling it, you could even run something like Energy Sticker. It is unfortunate that Raihan is rotating out of the standard format before this becomes legal for tournament play, so you won't be able to play this with Raihan. But the card is vaguely interesting and it's worth keeping in mind. Even if it doesn't become decent right away, it could be a fun off-meta deck or just something off the fringes that you play at your local leagues, especially if you have a smaller league, just to have some fun. Up next, let's see here. We have the Wug Trio EX. So Wug Trio EX is a Terra Pokemon. It is lightning typed instead of water. And it has the triple pump attack for 1 water energy. Discard up to 3 energy cards from your hand and choose one of your opponent's Pokemon. This attack does 60 damage to that Pokemon for each energy card you've discarded in that way. And then for 2 water, Tingly Bolt does 120 damage. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. So triple pump is going to be the attack you'd probably want to use. The problem you're going to have is that Manaphy exists. So you're going to have to do crazy things like loss owning their Manaphy or shutting it off with Canceling Clone and sniping something off the bench. And then you're only doing 180, and then Terra Pokemon have inbuilt bench barrier, so they won't be affected by this attack anyway. It's pretty niche. I don't think it's going to see much success, especially not on its own. Maybe as a 1/1 tech card and something else, it could be valid. But on its own, I don't think it works.
Does Wugtrio have one crown on its head or 3?
It looks like just one.
What's this thing?
It looks like it's just floating off from the other one.
Oh. All right, next card.
Yeah, it's an interesting angle for the artwork. Let's look at Bronzong. So Bronzong has the attack Evolution Jammer. We last saw this attack on a Banette. I believe it was from Ancient Origins. Evolution Jammer does 30 damage. Your opponent can't play any Pokemon from their hand to evolve their Pokemon during their next turn. So basically it prevents them from evolving up their Pokemon, which is pretty nasty. That can be very, very nasty, especially with the trainer card we'll be looking at later, because theoretically you could get this out turn 1 going first, or turn 1 going second, sorry. I mean, you can't play supporter going first, so you can't attack either, so whatever. But Evolution Jammer could be quite nasty. We shall see. It's worth noting that the card exists because it will probably see some niche play, especially as some sort of control archetype. Up next, trying to remember what we've talked about on here and what we haven't because there's so many new cards. Let's look at Colosal. So Colosal has, for a single fighting energy, Gatling Tar, 40 plus damage. This attack does 80 more damage for each fire energy attached to this Pokemon. And then for fighting Colorless, that has the attack Cragalanche, does 150 damage. Discard the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. So Gatling Tar can be powered up for a single reversal energy if you're behind on prize cards. And not only does that reversal fulfill the fighting requirement for Gatling Tar, it also means you have 3 fire energy attached to Colossal, which means you're doing quite a bit of damage for a single attachment. So 240. That seems decent. There's no multi-prizer Colossal that I'm aware of, and at least not in the EX space. So, as terms of playability, because you're basically gonna have to force yourself to get behind on prize cards in order to attack with it to do decent damage. But maybe in something like expanded or an unofficial format like Eternal, you could throw a Welder or Blacksmith to get some energy on it. There are ways to make this more interesting in other formats that do have some more acceleration for either fire or fighting. I like it, but probably not going to see that much play in standard. Up next, we have Gengar. So Gengar here, that is not the actual name of that ability. Let me look that up. So the ability is Gnawing Curse. Whenever your opponent attaches an energy card from their hand to one of their Pokemon, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. And then it has the attack Tricky Steps for 2 darkness energy, 160 damage. You may move an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon to one of their bench Pokemon. So we've seen both this ability and this attack before. They've existed in the TCG by this name. Gnawing Curse has never seen success in any form. I don't expect to see success now. But Tricky Step is a little interesting, and it does 160 damage. And if something is weak to darkness, maybe that's relevant. Mew VMAX is rotating, thankfully, so there's no real concern there. But at least you're one-shotting Mew EX, I guess. And Guardy the Guardy EX is weak to fighting or darkness, right? I'm not misremembering. Yes. Okay. Good. I couldn't get the baby and the big one mixed up. But yeah, so you are one-shotting Guardy also, so there is that. As to whether or not this can function as its own deck, probably not. And it's a stage 2 that doesn't have a whole lot else going for it, but it's a really cool card.
Is this the first
Shout
time?
out to my.
Is this the first time we've seen Gengar with its arm like this on a card? I feel like we never see its hand like that. I feel like we never see its hand like that. Sorry, shout out to what? The artist?
Shout out to one of my local professors, Marty, if you're listening. His favorite Pokemon is Gengar, and I know he's gonna love this card. Not necessarily to play with it, but just because the art's so nice. And looks like we saw something similar. The Sinister Fog Creepshow Gengar kind of has its hands out in a similar fashion. The Gengar level X also has its hand out a little bit like that.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that.
Yeah, I'm kind of cheating because I'm just going through the history here. But it looks like those are only 2 other than this one. I do really like this art though. For like a what's basically a bulk EX, it's really good art.
All right, next card.
Yes, next. We have... Let's look at Roaring Moon and Koraidon. So Roaring Moon has, for 2 darkness, Vengeful Feathers, does 20 plus damage. This attack does 10 more damage for each ancient card in your discard pile. It's definitely the one you're going to want.
Yeah, I think
you're going to be playing a bunch of ancient...
Did you say 20? I think you said 20 plus? Did you say 20 or 70?
70 plus.
Sorry.
70 plus. 70 plus damage, and then attack does 10 more damage for each ancient card in your discard pile. So you start out fairly low, but you're a single prizer that can ramp pretty quickly. You have the A spec if you really want to play Awakening Drum rather, you can do that. That's a card that not only draws you cards, but it also becomes 10 extra damage when it's discarded after having been played. And then you're going to get, other Pokemon, other cards and stuff in the discard pile. And I think this only gets better as more ancient cards come out. So not horrible. You do have access to Dark Patch to help power this up. You also have access to Sada's Vitality to power it up. It's okay as a single prize attacker. Is it a deck on its own? Probably not, but it's not a bad single prize attacker in something like Roaring Moon EX, so it's worth considering. Koraidon. Koraidon is also pretty interesting. It has Primeval Battering that does 30 times damage for fighting colorless. This attack does 30 damage for each of your ancient Pokemon in play. And then for fire fighting colorless, it has the attack Shred. This attack's damage is not affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So Primeval Battering is not too bad. 30 times 6 again. We're hitting that number. In the expanded format, that's a single attachment because this is a dragon type Pokemon. That's double dragon energy, immediately powering it up, which is pretty good. If you can get your Pokemon out fast enough with something like Mysterious Treasure or even Nest Ball or Quick Ball, you can certainly do that. In standard format, you have a little bit more problems getting it out. You're going to have Nest Ball and Ultra Ball still. And Ultra Ball is not too bad. You can discard some stuff and then maybe make use of that Roaring Moon we looked at earlier. But yeah, it's okay. I think it's not a bad single prizer. Let's see. Did we cover Raging? We've covered Raging Bolt already, right? I think we've covered Raging Bolt. Let's see. Let's do Dun Sparse. All right. Dunsparce has the ability Dashing Draw. Once during your turn, you may draw 3 cards. And you may shuffle this if you do, shuffle this Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your deck, and then Land Crush for 90 damage. It's an interesting draw card that probably won't see any play until the likes of Kirlia and Barrel Rotate. But this is our first draw card in the H block. So if they do rotate anytime soon, then I think it will probably see play. Not right away, obviously, and there's always the chance they release something better down the line. But I have a suspicion these will probably be very, very cheap up out of the gate because nobody will want to play them. So maybe grab a playset, just kind of have it on the back burner in the meantime. It's an interesting card, and it does get itself out of play, which also can be really good.
I think we did cover Dunsparce last week. So if you want to cover some cards we've already covered, might as well do it now as a review.
Because I've already doubled up. Woohoo. Mm-hmm. We do have a new ace spec. This is the last ace spec that we hadn't seen. Maximum Belt. Maximum Belt says attacks used by the Pokemon this card is attached to do 50 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon EX before applying weakness and resistance. This is literally a little X that it's doing extra damage to. So unfortunately it doesn't have the flexibility in expanded, but in standard, it's not awful. Something like Giratina V-Star might like it, so they don't have to necessarily use their V-Star power to take one shots against large HP Pokemon. Extra 50 damage could be relevant, getting up to 330. Yeah, I think it's not too bad. Will it see play like Prime Catcher? Nope. Prime Catcher is still very, very, very good, but in the right deck, Maximum Belt might actually see a slot. We have Airy. Airy is a supporter card. This is look at your opponent's hand, choose 2 item cards you find there and discard them. Snorlax says hello, and Airy is Snorlax's new best friend. These guys like each other because all those cards that you're trying to hide in your hand, they're not safe. Airy is going to rip them out. Morty's Conviction right after it. You can use this card only if you discard another card from your hand. Draw a card for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So theoretically, in standard at least, you could be drawing 6 cards. In expanded, you could be drawing 9. No, 8. 8 is the highest. So 8 is not too bad either. 5 for bench, not in play, right? Yeah, it's bench. So 5 and 8, still not too bad. Drawing 5 for no real effects or for no real limitation, just discarding a card that you probably don't want anyway. I think it's not too bad. It's a little bit better than research in some instances, where if you're a deck that can't handle heavy discard, that's not most decks anymore, but if you can't handle it, Morty's Conviction is maybe worth considering, especially because decks right now have a tendency to go really wide. So you're probably going to get maximum draw out of it a lot of the times anyway. Dangerous Jungle is basically a reprint of Verbank City that doesn't affect Darkness type Pokemon, so that's whatever. But then we talk about Cyber Judge. Cyber Judge has some cards in it too, it turns out. So Cyber Judge, Sawsbuck. Sawsbuck has the ability Seasonal Change. Once during a turn, you may search your deck for a Stadium card, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. And it has the attack Superpowered Horns for Grass Double Colorless that does 110 damage. Seasonal Change is very interesting because it searches for stadiums specifically. There's not a lot of effects that specifically search for stadium cards. So seeing this effect is very, very interesting. It makes me wonder if they are going to make us want to play Sawsbuck in our deck. Just because stadium cards generally, when there's search stuff for them, are super powerful. The last time we saw a good stadium search card was like Guzma and Hala and Stadium Nav back in the last block of the Sun and Moon era, or last couple blocks of Sun and Moon era, and we had like the Prism Star stadiums back then, so they were very, very, very powerful. So it is interesting that we do have stadium search. Which stadium we want for it right now is a big question mark, and this is a stage 1, so there is that to be worried about. But maybe if you have a deck that really, really, really needs its stadium cards, this is a consideration. And then up next, we have a very interesting card for the Gym Leader Challenge format. Let's see if it doesn't get banned or at least complained about. Bramblegast. This card is insane. I had to translate it multiple times just to make sure that I wasn't screwing it up. It has the ability Weed Spirit, or like Weedy Resilience. There's a few different ways you could translate it. But for each prize card your opponent has taken, this Pokemon gets 50 more HP.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead. Sorry, say it again.
So that could be like 350 HP on this Pokemon. And then you attach something like that Cape A-Spec, getting up to 450. That's ridiculous for a single prizer. Obviously, the laws of vacuum exist, so the Cape could go away. But if they're down to one prize card left, this could be an absolute bugbear to knock out. And then you have the world's worst attack for a Pokemon like this one, but that's probably for the better. For Grass Double Colorless, it has powerful Needles, 80 times damage, flip a coin for each energy attached to this Pokemon. This attack does 80 damage for each heads. There's a little bit of a typo there. But yeah, so this is, I think it was Maractus that had that attack where you're just throwing a bunch of energy on it and flipping coins. It's fun. It's certainly a deck you would play for like a regular casual night at League. Just be a pain with a big HP Bramblegast, and maybe in something like Expanded you play this with Life Dew just to really make people frustrated. I don't know. This card seems fun. GLC, you'd only be able to run a 1/1 line of this in GLC, but this could absolutely be a monster with something like Levaney and Cricketune that both increase the HP you've got. It's a cool card for GLC and a cool card for just for fun formats. Let's see here. Incinerar. Incinerar EX has the ability Adversity Act. Attacks used by this Pokemon cost 1 less for each, 1 colorless less, for each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. And we were talking earlier about how people tend to play fairly wide in the format right now. So there's a very good chance that you're going to be getting at least a couple of those colorless slots knocked off. And then for Fire, colorless, that's 4 colorless. Blazing Bomb does 240 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned. So the attack's not too bad, and with a burn, you're basically doing 260 damage. With something like Maximum Belt, you're going even higher. Probably not playing Maximum Belt, let's be fair. But I think we talked about the Relicanth that's in this set that lets you use the attacks of previous evolutions. There is a Litten, I believe it is, Litten from Silver Tempest. Let me read it out. That has an attack called Reprisal. Reprisal for 2 fire energy does 20 times damage. This attack does 20 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So if your opponent doesn't one-shot your Incinerar, you could always copy Litten's attack and just do a nuclear bomb of damage to your opponent, basically doubling the damage they did to you, which is pretty cool. And let's see here. What is next? Drillbur. So Drillbur has the ability Dig About. We have an extra R on that Drillbur. Dig About. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may search your deck for 3 basic fighting energy and discard them, then shuffle your deck. So people might look at this and go, why is that interesting? Why is that good? Koraidon EX from Scarlet and Violet base set accelerates fighting energy from your discard pile. So playing something like this down on your turn, off of an Ultra Ball, for example, could get those fighting energies in your discard pile so that Koraidon can accelerate them, which is a good thing. That's something you want. Is the Excadrill that goes with it any good? Absolutely not, but the Drillbur's nice. So turn 1, you might want that Drillbur. There is a Feraligator that we're going to skip over. Scissor. Did we cover Scissor last week? We did, right? I think we did. Matang, I'm pretty sure we covered 2.
Did we?
Matang is also fairly interesting. The fact that Matang's Metal Maker sets the cards on the bottom of the deck does make it slightly better, but you're also only seeing 4 cards, so whether or not that is actually decent will require testing, I think. If you get a few of them set up, though, it could be all right, and you can always play it with something like Cryptomaniac's Deciphering, which is the new Mallow that lets you stack your deck with the top 2 cards, so that's pretty nice. Miraidon, we've talked about. Let's see here. I think we're going to go to... Let's go to Pidove. Pidove is a very boring Pokemon. It's literally just a dove, but it's also very interesting because it has the ability Emergency Evolution, which is really cool. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon's remaining HP is 30 or less, you may search your deck for an Unfeasant or an Unfeasant EX and put it on this Pokemon to evolve it, then shuffle your deck. So, if you have something like Gape Jaw Bog down and you throw this Pidove down, immediately you're able to use Emergency Evolution and evolve it up into either an Unfeasant or, if there ever is one, an Unfeasant EX. Currently, there is no Unfeasant EX, and I looked. The Unfeasants in standard format are all pretty bad. I didn't really look into previous formats or into previous cards, card pools like an expanded or unlimited, but it's an interesting card to keep in mind. It's going to be a common, so maybe just grab them. They're probably going to be like a penny each. Just pull them out of a bulk box somewhere just to have them on hand, just in case there is an Unfeasant that's any good. You'll want this Pidove for sure. As for the rest of the cards, let's look at Heavy Baton.
I think the
Heavy Baton.
The website gets cut off here with the browser I'm using.
Oh no.
Just read.
Heavy Baton. You're going to go to the regular page or no?
I don't think I can. But anyway, just read Heavy Baton.
Okay, I'll just read it off. There's only a couple more that we're going to talk about. It's just Heavy Baton and Salvatore. So good stuff. Heavy Baton has the effect: if the Pokemon with retreat cost of exactly 4 that this card is attached to is your active Pokemon and is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, move the 3 basic energy cards from that Pokemon to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. So what I'm reading is that says if the Iron Hands EX that you have this attached to in your active spot is knocked out by damage from your attack, move the energy off it onto your other Pokemon. That's pretty good. That means you're able to re-accelerate the energy to your Miraidons or to another Iron Hands or to whatever you have ready on the bench. It's nice. It's niche, yes, but Iron Hands is very good. We've learned. Is it broken? No. Is it very good? Yes. It does have some nice tools coming in this set, which might make it better and maybe even push it toward being a little bit more broken. But Heavy Baton is definitely a tool to have in your arsenal. The last card I want to talk about is Salvatore. It says, search your deck for a Pokemon, except any Pokemon with an ability that evolves from one of your Pokemon in play and put it on that Pokemon to evolve it. Then shuffle your deck. You can use this card on a Pokemon that was put into play when setting up to play or on the turn it was put into play. So this means that if you're going if you're going second and you had a Pokemon out already and you have a supporter in your hand and Salvatore is the one, you play it and you immediately have a stage 1 out that turn. This does not skip stages. You're not going straight to a stage 2. But it does mean that you're able to grab the stage 1 and immediately evolve up into it, which is pretty broken, frankly. And I can't wait to see what this does. in terms of what decks it jumps into. I know people have been talking about Banette EX and how this could be very good for that, because you get up straight into the Everlasting Darkness. You just attach an energy and immediately start item locking your opponent. Turn 1 going second. It's good. We saw the Verbank City reprint earlier that could pair up with it, not with Brute Bonnet, do some chip damage with poison. Radiant Hisuian Sneasler to do even more damage. It's a fun little idea. I think it's probably a good card. It's going to see play because it's so broken. Cards like this, like Wally, have seen play in the past. There's no reason this won't see play. So yeah, that's the bulk of it. That's Salvatore. So I think that's like this. It's because this set's so good. Like I've been on my website, I create proxies for people to test, and most sets I create, there's a decent number of them, but this set has just been brutal for me. I have had to create so many for cards that are theoretically playable or at least decent. Actually, there's one more card I want to talk about, and it's just because I love how I translated the name of the attack.
Oh, I know what this is.
I know you do because I called it out when I was doing it in our chat. Ribombi. It's you may not be able to see it. Oh, you can. Okay, good. Okay, so for context, this is business wages. Business. I love this attack name. Okay, so for context, the last time we saw this effect was on a it was Whimsicott. It was a Whimsicott from Guardians Rising. Had exactly the same effect. It had the attack Wages of Fluff. And I'm like, I have to play off of that. This is a bug. So business and then wages, obviously. Okay, yes, it's a play on words. No, it's not a direct translation, but it's a fun one. And I hope that whoever translates this at TPCI has some similar fun with it. Because man, this was a fun one to play with.
Even if you translate things perfectly, they end up renaming things anyway. So the names
they rename a bunch of stuff, or they change how it's worded.
Yeah.
Like it could be they change it to an adverbial form or something. But yeah, but business wages, it's just too fun to not have that wording. So a little bit of a sidetrack there, but yeah, it was a fun one to come up with that.
And I think that's it for news this week. There's regionals this weekend, isn't there?
There's a regional in Charlotte, North Carolina. So is Charlotte, North Carolina? It is Charlotte this weekend, right? I am not crazy. PTCG Legends, you're my cheat sheet here. Yes, Charlotte. So if you're in Charlotte this weekend, best of luck to you. I know it's a fairly large regional. I think it's yet again the largest regional we've ever had, which is saying something because San Antonio was massive, which means Charlotte's even bigger. It's just, yeah, they get bigger and bigger, it seems. It's crazy because we have it's like 2,200 masters, 2,300 masters. And, just like 5-6 years ago, a regional was like 500-600 players.
Yeah, and the
size has gotten so big.
It's like in the old days of the website, the competitive scene was kind of discounted more. It was seen as a really small slice of the pie, but it's really been growing over the last few years. And it's kind of surprising. I have to kind of rethink what I think sometimes because I'm always like stuck in the old way of thinking like, oh, well, they don't account for competitive play really that much, but they have been lately. Like you pointed out last week with the way that they're releasing sets, you think it's more, now it's more geared toward competitive players. So I have to rethink some of that, but yeah. So that's, is that all we want to say for the week?
Maybe. Is there anything else we need to bring up? Other than that people need to write Ribombi in the comments because that name is so good.
And you have to spell it right.
Ribombi is so cool.
And next week we're going to get the secret wares from Wild Force and Cyber Judge. And then we'll also post the Paldean Fates set list, I believe, because it comes out next week, I think. Yeah. I think it comes out.
Yes, it releases next Friday.
Yeah.
It's so much has happened in the last week that it's been a constant barrage. Like I started helping translate for Poke Beach at about 10 my time, 10 p.m. my time. And I didn't get done doing all the stuff for my website afterward until about 8 a.m. my time.
Oh, Lord.
So I was up for a long time to do everything for all the stuff that was revealed last night. And I did something similar just a few days ago for all the other previous reveals. There's just been so much this last week.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, sometimes there's big waves of Pokemon news. And
We might also
we're here for it. That's why you come to us.
We might also get. We were supposed to get an EX box revealed this week too, but it didn't. They didn't reveal it. I think it's going to be Grafaiai. How do you pronounce that?
Grafaiai.
Yeah,
I could see it being Grafaiai. I could also see it being Scovillain. Because Scovillain didn't make Paladin Fates, if I'm not mistaken. So that would be very,
I think
very appropriate for it.
I think Grafaiai comes first though, based on the
Grafaiai is a Coro promo though, so it could go either way. We'll see.
All right, so I think that's it for the week. Thank you for taking all that time last night to translate Mista. I appreciate that. And we will see you all next week for the reveal of the secret rares and Paldean Fates. Yes. So
you will not want to miss it.
You will not want to miss it. All right, we hope you all have a good week, and be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do your thing. Comment the Pokemon he mentioned earlier below, and we will see you all next week. Bye. Addendum. Speak of the devil. A new Grafaiai EX box was just revealed. Literally.
As we were wrapping up the cast.
No, after we
Pokemon heard us and went, we need to prove Justin Basil wrong right now.
It was literally, I hit stop record, and what was it, like 30 seconds later? Something like that?
Not even that.
No, not even that. It was literally like, what was it, 10 seconds or something? Anyway,
it was pretty quick, yeah.
Let me jump to the... Hold on. How do I do this? Let me jump to the... Okay, hold on. So I just posted it.
It really did not want us to be wrong, did it?
So a new Grafaiai EX box will release on April 5th for $21.99. We had mentioned there was going to be an April EX box last month. It will come with... both of these are unique promos. Usually EX boxes have like a reprinted pre-evolution, but Shroodle is also a promo this time. That's because both of them were given out in Coro last year as part of an illustration contest. So that's why we're getting both of them as unique promos this time. It'll come with, it's configured like typical EX boxes, where it comes with a promo card, a jumbo version of that promo card, a holo pre-evolution, 4 booster packs, and a code card. And
$20 for booster packs and some bulk promos. That's
you know what? I need to edit this story to put the translations in there. But
yeah,
I forgot. Was this any good? Flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned for 30 damage. Toxic throw. I can't read it.
No, it's not good, but they're interesting at least.
Interesting.
Like they're bulk. They're just interesting.
And we still need to get the Garganackle and what was the other one? The two-headed thing. Not Capsicid.
The Scovillain.
Scovillain. Yeah, we still need those.
You're talking about Scovillain.
We still need those.
Well, yeah.
EX cards.
And I would have expected at least one of them to show up in Paldean Fates, but you know, it is what it is. Go ahead and refresh the article real quick.
Refresh?
Yeah,
you edited it. Oh, thank you. Oh, this is what I love. This is what I love. In the old days, I had to do everything myself. Old days, up until just even a few years ago, I had to do everything myself. It's so nice to have people who help now. Thank you for adding that. Okay, so numbing saliva, 30 damage for 1 colorless. Flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. Oh, I thought it was poison. And then CCC, Poison Toss, 180 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't use Poison Toss. So
yeah, it's super basic, but it is what it is. Yeah,
these are for the kids.
It's fine.
These are for the kids and the collectors.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun Pokemon. Got its box.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now that's it for the week, and we will see you all.
There's the real ending.
That's the real ending. We'll see you all next week. Thanks for joining, and adios, ariadoses. Ariadai. Ariadoses.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye.